Welcome, welcome. My name is Lisa Pranto. I am a team leader here on beautiful Cape Cod, brokered by eXp Realty. And I am joined, so we once a month we do a mastermind that hopefully brings value to all the folks that join us to get better at selling real estate and to connect with each other and just to raise the bar. And oftentimes it is fellow eXp agents that join us and are featured, but not always because we want everybody. The orientation really of EXP that I've continued to find is that we want to lift others as we climb, and that's kind of where we're at. And speaking of that, I met Mr. Ozzie Ramirez at shareholders meeting. We have two official events with EXP. Twice a year. One of them is coming up in October called EXPCon, but we also have a meeting called shareholders, which is because we are all shareholders. It's pretty businessy in its main focus. There's other kinds of sessions that go on, but the main focus is really to talk about where we're at, what the growth looks like, what the financials look like, a real deep dive into the financials. And it's really an amazing, amazing event because, again, we are all shareholders. So we feel an amazing kind of connectivity to each other and to the company when we're there. This year we had an icon event on the last day, and those of us that were are icons and that were there made every effort to attend. It was jam packed, lots of fun. There was a huge faux pas, and one of the guys had to like do a dance off to keep us all entertained. So it just added this kind of hysterical, fun element to the event. But Ozzy was at my table, and even though we were supposed to all move tables, we never did. We stayed with our table, and it was great. And I got to meet Ozzy and learn from Ozzy and kind of hear about what he does in his market, which is outside of Houston, Texas. Hasn't been a realtor since the beginning of time, which lots of people are. So I love the stories we tell ourselves about, I'm too new, I don't have the experience, I can't do this, I can't do that. Ozzy has broken through a lot of those crazy stories, limiting beliefs. Um, so anyway, let me get back. So Ozzy, actually, I originally had invited Ozzy because he is a YouTube phenom. I mean, he just has the algorithms, the content, the length, the focus, the marketing really together on YouTube. And how many of us couldn't use a little more info on YouTube? So I'd originally invited him on to talk to us about YouTube. Maybe I can get him back sometime in the future. But he said, Lisa, no, I actually have a really great thing to share, which is how I got 92 listings in 90 days. And that is what we are super excited to have Ozzy share with us. I know everybody's got their pen and notebook ready. Ozzy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we'll hopefully have some time for questions. We just can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today.
So, full disclaimer, YouTube wise, I've gotten pretty good at it. What I really practice is what we call the multi-channel marketing system, which was given through me from my business coach and other people that I mastermind with. And really just understanding when it comes to things like YouTube and stuff like that, even if it's, I mean, Instagram, short videos, whatever you're doing, consistency is the key. Like just put out more and more content as much as you possibly can. That's what I'm going to do there. I'll just tell you all that. We can cover all the other YouTube stuff and the way we've built some of our channels and the way we operate. What I would challenge you to do is one of the guys that actually trained me, that has coached me up a lot, is a guy named Jackson Wilkie. If you haven't heard of Jackson Wilkie, look him up. He's a monster. He actually got into real estate. I don't think he's ever sold real estate. He just builds YouTube channels, and then he goes and says, "Hey, I'm going to build a team. I got a lead generation YouTube channel." He finds people and they service his leads. And he has one here in the Houston area. And I've helped him invest in real estate out here. And we became friends. And he also helped me with a few things too with my YouTube channel. So, but that's that part. Going for his name is Jackson Wilkie, JacksonWilkey. He builds channels that are like it would be like living in Cape Cod, and he just goes through all these different things where he shows videos of what it's like being a transplant. So I moved from Seattle, and the craziest thing I saw in Cape Cod was this, and he puts out a lot of videos like that, and they work really dang well. So study Jackson; he's a lot better than me. Now, as far as the 92 listings in 90 days, what I like to do. So how long are we going full hour, going 45? Let me know.
I would say, we could go at least like, well, so it's 12:06 now. I'd love to go till about 10 of.
Okay.
so that we can field a little bit of questions. And then if there's no questions, we'll just let, I always have questions. So, but yeah, we'll go to about 10 hour-ish, and then we'll open it up for questions.
So I'm gonna rush through some of this just to make sure we get like the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. What I will say is I do a lot of videos on YouTube. If you go to Agents Empowering Agents, so look up my name, Ozzie Ramirez, Agents Empowering Agents on YouTube. I put out one video every week, and it's about different things. Sometimes it's about building a team. Sometimes it's about taking more listings. This 92 listings in 90 days, I actually did like a 2 or 3 hour session, I believe, and that's on there too. I've done the 92 listings in 90 days as a much bigger thing before, um, where it was where it took a couple days, where I did 2 days of 92 listings in 90 days. So I'm obviously truncating all this information into this next like 40, 45 minutes. So quick just intro. I'm Ozzie Ramirez from Houston, Texas. I joined EXP April 1st of last year. I've been in the business since 2005. I'm about 17 years in. I tell people the greatest asset I've had is that I've got my ass kicked more than most people. And I learned by just failing forward. I've screwed up more than you, and I'm proud of that. So that's basically what I do, and I do it very well, and I do it very fast. I am this year we're on track to do over 300 transactions. My biggest focus this year was to move from being transactional to stepping out of the business. So I'm used to doing 60 to 70 transactions myself. This year my goal is to stay under 20 transactions. So this year I'm going to be 20, and the rest is going to come from my team. And I own an investment company. We do fundraising. We Jackson Wilkie, yes. Okay, so we raise money, we buy properties. I do give equity interest in some of the properties. I also show great return to my investors. I keep as many of the properties as I can. So an apartment complexes, storage facilities, buildings, stuff like that. I love investing. It's a passion of mine. And honestly, I'm just a regular guy who comes from a pretty modest background. My greatest gift is the fact that I was raised by an amazing woman, which I'll get into that here in a little bit. And so let's get to it. 92 listings in 90 days. So on November 14th, I was challenged by my business coach. So I was with Keller Williams. I had a business coach. Her name was Jeannie Austin. She was fabulous. And she basically called me out and she said, "You talk a mean game, but you don't live up to it." And I was like, "What?" And so the most listings I'd ever had was like 17 listings. And she said, you're a multi-million and billion-dollar producer, cleverly disguised as somebody who's making $300,000 a year. And I believed her because she was right, because I was living nowhere near just my full potential. And that bothered me. So she said, "I'm going to challenge you. There's a guy, I think his name is Craig Rieger." She said, "I'm going to challenge you to take 90 listings in 90 days. There's a guy that's done it or whatever." So I studied this guy. I learned from this guy. He did 86 listings in 90 days with him and I believe two other dialers. And I said, "I'm going to do 90 listings in 90 days by myself, and I'm going to smoke this guy." And I went home, and I was in Bold actually with KW, which is a great class, phenomenal, teach you a lot of things. I went home. I told my wife, I said, for the next like 3 to 5 months, like, you're going to be a widow, because I am going to do something that I believe we deserve. And I did it. So from November 1st to January 29th, I took 92 listings in 90 days, started making $100,000 a month, was forced to build a team. And I've been doing that ever since. Of course, I've screwed up the team more times you can imagine, just building and rebuilding. And we are finally at a place where it I tell people I couldn't stop the team if I wanted to. This thing it's its own machine now. So in that journey from 0 listings or however many I had to 92, I learned a lot of amazing things. And some of it's about real estate, and some of it's about inside, like who I needed to be the person that could take 92 listings in 90 days. So in that journey, I learned a lot. I wrote it all down, and I created a larger version of what I'm about to teach you guys today. And the fundamentals are what I call the 5 pillars of lead generation, which I'll go through that. So to start understanding the story, so I got on the phones. I had never what they call cold call before. And to give you my philosophy on it, I don't cold call, I warm call. If you cold call, you suck. If you warm call, it's because you have heart and you love people and you want a relationship. And that's the way every conversation should be, even if they're a stranger. So I don't really cold call, I warm call. So I get on the phones. Um, I actually started using Arch Dialer. So I'll give y'all some of the tools and stuff like that that I was using then. I don't use it anymore. But I use Arch Dialer because it was given to us through Bold. And you could actually go into the dialer, they enter the information, you could push a button, it would auto dial, and you start calling people. I was so old school that I would just print it out every day and I'd put it in a big old fat binder. So I had like 4 like huge freaking binders, like 3 or 4 inch binders. And I would just go through and manually dial every day. I would start at 9 a.m. and I would just dial and I would dial and I would dial. And as I would go, I would learn scripts. I would study different scripts on YouTube. I would use the Bold scripts and things they had. I got hung up on, I got cussed at a lot. As I started dialing through the 90 listings in 90 days, so my first month, I picked up 47 listings. And with the 47 listings, I really didn't have a life at that point. I wasn't coming home before 9 o'clock at all. I really didn't enjoy it, but I knew I had this goal and I couldn't fall short. But the magic was in this period. So I was in November, right? November 1st. We're going through holidays. That period between Thanksgiving and Christmas, like a week or two in the beginning of December, I actually had no appointments. So imagine being on the phones 8 to maybe 12 hours a day, taking breaks here and there. And for at least a week or two, I did not get a single appointment. And that's where I really found the magic in what I was doing and realized it was because of my ego and because I got a big head. And I started believing like, I deserve this appointment. I'm good. I'm going to hit this number and all these things. And I was no longer on the phones for the people. I was on the phones for me. And that was one of the biggest mistakes. And it taught me the most. And that's going to be part of our 5 pillars as well. So I roll through that. I realized that my head wasn't right. I fixed my head. I get on the phones. I start loving people again. And I get to about 86, 87 listings, and we're approaching like the end of January. And I literally I had some small builders and I call them and I go, you got projects? You got projects? Okay. What do you got? What are you breaking ground on? Okay, good. I'm going to pre-list and I'm going to put together a new package to get you pre-marketed before it's even dirt. And we're going to get them sold. And so I think 3 or 4 that got me to 90 were like me just badgering these builders, like, you're going to give me the business naked. But by that time we had a relationship, obviously. And so every day I'm calling my coach. I'm at 80, I'm at 84, I'm at 86. Here we go. I'm going to do this thing. And the last day I picked up 92, signed them, put them in the system. And it was a life-changing experience for me, because I had never, like I said, I had never carried more than maybe 13 to 17 listings at any given time. Now we get into the 5 pillars and what I really learned. So there are 5 core principles and beliefs and things that I believe that if you're having a problem in your lead generation, you go back to one of these 5 things. It may be more than one. You may be suffering in 2 or struggling in 3 of them or just one of them. But if you can identify where you are struggling and you attack that one thing, it will absolutely fix everything that you're doing in your lead generation world. So number 1 is knowing your big why. You got to know what the heck you're getting up for. Like, what gets you out of bed in the morning? If obstacles come to you and you are not prepared with the big why, most people, they hit a big obstacle, and because their why isn't big enough, they tuck tail and run. They fold up shop and say, oh, I don't want to do this. It's why we have the statistics we have in real estate. 83% of all real estates will be out in their first year and a half. You've all heard that crap before, right? And it's mainly because people don't have a big enough why to pull them through the junk. I know, because in my first year and a half, I lost a house to foreclosure. And my wife said, get out of the business, go back in the restaurants. It's okay. Nobody's going to be upset with you. And I said, why would I leave now? We've been through the hardest part. We already lost a house and you're still with me. So we're good. So I stayed in real estate. I actually had a car repoed on Christmas Eve. which is really like all these things are like so demoralizing and they make you feel like less than a man. And it was very painful. Yet I knew one thing that I had been through the hardest part. Like, if I'd gone through that, like, what the heck is the rest of this? Like, there's nothing else that's serious and come unless somebody dies, like, it's not going to get any worse. We're fine. We're good. So let's keep on pushing. Of course, my wife now is like, I'm really glad you stuck with this. This is a good idea. So know what your big why is. And I'm going to get a little bit deep because I want us to like fully understand what this is. So it doesn't have to be as robust as mine. It doesn't have to be, whatever works for you. What I am going to tell you is if it's cars, if it's money, or it's houses, rethink it. Most of the time, it needs to be attached to a human being to be big enough of a why to start pulling you through these things. So I'm gonna start this off with saying this. Don't ever for a damn minute feel sorry for me. I am blessed. I'm the most blessed person you will ever meet. I live an amazing life. God knew exactly what he was doing with me. Like everything lined up perfectly, even though it was so nasty as I was going through it, it's perfect. So I need y'all to understand that. I feel sorry for people who don't have the adversity that I did because it is my gift. Um, my parents came from Mexico. Um, they didn't come the right way, and that's okay. They came undocumented and all that stuff, but I don't care. I thank God they came here because they gave me an amazing opportunity, and that's what their whole intention was. They just wanted a better life for me and my brothers and sisters, and I'm so happy for that. Somewhere along the way, my birth father and birth mother got crossed, and my birth mother was taken out of the picture, and I still don't have a relationship with her. And well, we lived in a trailer park in probably one of the worst areas in Houston off of Telephone Road. And my dad met a woman. She was a redheaded Irish woman from Boston. And somehow they fell in love. And she had two boys, and he had two boys living with him at the time, which is me and my brother. And we all became brothers. And just through it all, my mom, like, she stepped up and she just became amazing for me. And although my dad wasn't the greatest man, to just be truth, I used to tell people I was adopted. It's not true. I just don't want to tell the rest of the story. The things he did to us was just horrible. I love him for who he was because he gave me life, but the rest I wish you could take away. Nonetheless, life is what it is, and you're given what you're given. You're either going to make some shit happen or you're not. So there's this woman, she makes me her own. And I'm about 5 years old, and she has Ricky and Andy and me and my brother Angel, and we are her babies. And Ricky is killed by a drunk driver, and she's just devastated. And it's really hard watching her go through it. But she said some things that like made like all the difference in my world. She said some things that would change my life. So around the age of 10, honestly, I was upset and I was mean to her, and I told her I wish she would leave. And I said it because I was tired of seeing her getting her nose broken, and I was tired of seeing her get beaten. And I just wanted her to be happy. But she said some things, and it changed my life. She said, Ozzie, God took Ricky from me, and he gave me you, an angel, and I'm never leaving. And what she did is she just showed me a volunteer. She showed me how to volunteer in people's life. She told me, like, basically without words, that you can love people no matter what. Like, they don't have to be blood. Like, you can love anyone. You just have to make a choice. So that's what she did. And to get to this story and why I'm speaking this stuff is that she's a huge part of my big why. So fast forward, 16 years old, all my brothers, she told my two older brothers, she said, leave and don't come back. Like, go to college and go live your life because it's not going to happen here. And she was a wise woman, and it was just a very toxic household with the dynamics. And I won't get all into that. I will tell you that one of my brothers got shot in the back with a shotgun by my dad, and that's how crazy shit was. But she knew, and she said, go live your life and be happy and go to college, because they were very smart, my two older brothers. I was the street kid. I was the one that was always in trouble, and I was street smart, not book smart. So So at 16, she's diagnosed with cancer. And for about a year, I fed my mom through a tube. I loved her. She was amazing. And one day I came home and God made a decision and he took her from me. And I just had to live with that. I had to understand that this is your lot in life and you got to deal with this shit. So I'm 17. I got to pay a mortgage because dad's not covering shit. And I'm just trying to figure out life at this point. Well, to get to the why and why I do what I do is honestly, I was 17 and I was in a lot of trouble. I was in and out of jail. I never did anything. I never stole. I never raped. I never murdered. I just drank and I fought because I was angry and I was angry all the time. And it was just who I was. And I just got in a lot of brawls. And my brother Angel said it to me. He said, Mom's dying and you're a piece of shit. I hope you're happy that this is what she's seeing when she's dying. Like, this is what it is. And of course, I'm 17 and I'm so selfish and I didn't fix a whole lot. I did feed her and I was there and I loved her and it is what it is, right? But nonetheless, she got taken. And from about 17 to 21, I really struggled. I was in and out of jail. And then I met my wife and she straightened my ass up. Probably the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. Still with her today. We have 4 amazing kids and we live a damn dream. But it wasn't until I went to church one day because I didn't believe in God and I just heard some things and it spoke to me. And I realized that God didn't take my mom at 17. He gave me 17 years with a volunteer angel. And now it was time for me to do something with it. Like I had to step up to the plate. And I just remember my brother saying those things to me. And I thought, well, I can't show her anything different while she was alive because I was what I was. So I came up with this analogy and I make it true in my heart is that I was like a piece of glitter. And some days from heaven, she could see me and some days she couldn't. And I just asked myself, like, how do I make sure she can see me? Like, how do I show her that she didn't screw up, that she did so damn good with me? And I realized like I got to do what she did. She was a volunteer. Like she just loved people and she was a volunteer in my life and she loved me like I was her own damn son when she didn't have to. So I realized like if I just go help people and I share my testimony and I lift people up and I love people and I teach them and I coach them and I train them and I give them everything I got and I help them find the best version of themselves, I'm doing what she did. So truth be told, guys, I'm not on here to teach you anything. You're on here to bless me because whether you like it or not, you're going to shine my light. And one day I'm going to blind my mom from heaven. And that's why I do this shit. That's why I live every day. So that is my why. That's why I get up. That's why I do what I do. I don't care about money. I don't need money. I've been without it. It's like Monopoly at this point. Just play the game. Nobody's dying in real estate. It's not that damn serious. Just love on people. So that's my big why. That's what I do. And I'm going to ask you to dig down deep and find what yours is. Like what gets you motivated? Because this shit's not easy and you know it. It's hard. If you've struggled, raise your hand. Yeah, you're not alone. We're together in this damn thing if we let each other be together. So find your why and find what gets you up. Find what gets you excited. Find what's going to get you going in the day. And it usually needs to be something emotional because that emotion is going to cause the action to happen. So I'm going to challenge you guys to dig deep and find out what that is. If you want to put on another session where we dug and I help people find their why, I love that. It's a big part of what I do with my company. So find your why, number one. That's pillar number one. Number two, realize that you are getting on the phones and you are doing what you do for other human beings and not for you. It's one of the biggest problems. This is one of my biggest problems, right? Getting you out of bed is your big why. Getting you on the phones is other people. You need to help these other people. They need to hear from you today. And I've actually added this recently, helping people to break through because many people, I know what you say. It's in your head. Well, Ozzie, I don't want to bother people. I feel like I'm bothering people when I'm calling them all day and blah, 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 and this and the other. Well, I'm going to break it down for you. And this is one of the most truthful things I've ever realized in my life is that in this industry, we begin to believe that our value comes from our real estate knowledge and our value comes from our experience. And that's not true. The truth is your value comes from how much you love the person on the other side of that phone. Think about it. I want you to think about it real quick. Right now, who is someone in your life that you love, like you absolutely love, you would die for? Maybe your kids, a husband, somebody special. I don't know who it is, but I'm pretty sure we have all got a special person. Think about them. So with that special person, if they call you every day, are they bothering you? I want to see some heads moving. No, no, it's not bothering you. But hold on, Ozzie. If they call me every day and it's not bothering me, they must know a lot about real estate. No, they probably don't. Because their value is not found in their knowledge of real estate. Their value is not found in their experience of real estate. Your value is found in how much you love someone. So when you love someone and you're getting on the phone with love, you're not bothering them. So you're not cold calling, you're warm calling. That is a game changer. If you can program that in your mind and start making the calls and having the conversations based on the fact that you care for people and you just want to lift them up, the game will change. A lot of times when I call people, I'm like, hey, I'm willing to bet that you've had like 50 calls from real estate agents today. Yeah, good. Take me off that list of 50 real estate agents because I don't care to sell your house. I'm just here to serve you today. What do you need to make your day better? Let's talk about it. Well, I don't know. I wish these agents would stop calling. Perfect. I'll show you how. Come over, sign a listing agreement. I'll make them all stop calling you. I'm just joking. But truth be told is we're going to find our value by just loving on them. Like where else can you contribute? There's times when I get on the phones and it may be an elderly person and they just want to be listened to. They just want to tell me their story and how their grandkids haven't seen them in 7 months, especially through COVID, where people weren't willing to visit and all that stuff, and just be there for them. And what I'm telling you is a lot of people say, well, we still got to sell. Oh, you got to set appointments. Yeah, okay, cool. Truth is, this is a relationship business, correct? Can we all agree to that? It's a relationship business. Your relationship is the sum of your conversations. If you're having conversations, you're building relationships. If you're not, then you're not. Quality of conversation, consistency, quantity of conversations, it all matters. But I focus on quantity first. You need to have tons of conversations because you don't know who's going to change your life. You don't know who needs your help on the other side of that phone. You got to kiss a lot of frogs. You want to marry the princess. So get on the phones and help people. That's one of the biggest problems I see is people think they're bothering. You're not bothering unless you're a jerk and you don't care about people. But I'm willing to bet everybody on this call loves people and wants people to win. So when you get on the phone with that heart, everything changes. Fair enough. Okay. So pillar number 1 is know your big why. Number 2 is don't fail them. I call it don't fail them. You're getting on the phones for them and not for you. Pillar number 3, come from curiosity. One of the greatest tragedies I see, like in life in general, is that we kill our curiosity at a young age. You know, you have a kid and they're like, Daddy, why? Daddy, why? Stop asking me questions. It's not healthy. I don't believe we're supposed to do that. And I know it's hard as an adult because we got to do all the adulting stuff and then we got to make sure this little human being survives. And it's difficult, right? But as an adult now, let's go back to our curiosity and be curious, like genuinely, be curious without some kind of like preset notion of how this conversation is supposed to go. Be curious like a child. When I get on the phone, I tell myself, I don't know shit about shit. I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know anything about anything. All I know is I'm going to be curious with this human being and I'm going to ask questions. Sometimes it leads us down a path where I get to know a really good person that's struggling and I can help them through it. Sometimes it leads down the path. If I'm coming over today at 5:30 and we're signing a listing agreement, I don't know. But all I know is if I stay curious like a child, I can find out anything I want to find out. Now, I'll give you an example because I like to attach stories. I was calling on a gentleman who was he was actually looking for a home and he was going to sell his home and he wanted to make a move. And he didn't want to move very far. He only wanted to move like 2 neighborhoods over. So my curiosity is piqued. I'm like, what is going, like, why is this happening? And I could have just been, okay, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 2-car garage, gated community, zone to this school. Cool, we're done. Let's get it done. But I asked him, I'm like, so let me ask you, like, you're not moving that far, gated community, your house this is only 1 bedroom bigger. Can you tell me, like, what's the purpose of this move? Are you about to get married? You about to have kids? And he said, well, honestly, I need to move into a gated community and I need to be zoned to this particular school. And I said, okay, well, and you need the extra bedroom? And he said, yeah. And I said, Tell me about this stuff. And he said, all right, I'll tell you everything. You ready? And I said, yeah. And he said, my sister just got out of a really bad marriage, an abusive marriage. She's moving in with me. I need an extra room, but I also need more room because I have a nephew. And I need the gated community because he's special needs. And I need the school because they have a program for special needs kids. And I was no longer looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. I was looking for a house for this little boy so he could get the education he needed and he'd be safe in this gated community where there was a better possibility that he wouldn't slip out into the streets. That's when the game changes. That's when we get to make connections. That's when we get to love on people. That's when we get to build a relationship that's not about one transaction. It's like 50 or 100 transactions. Like they just keep talking to us because you can feel it. I believe you can feel it. And I've gotten really good at it. I love you. I love everyone on this call. I want you to win. I want you to win like nobody's business. And I think you can hear it in my voice and the passion, the way I speak things. When you change the way you feel about human beings, when like you genuinely love people, it's going to show and they're going to love you back. And you don't need money at that point. It's going to come when it's supposed to. But we lose track. So number 3 is curiosity. Number 4 is come from contribution. Your money doesn't matter. I know that's hard to say. Your money doesn't matter. Their money matters. Their well-being matters. What's best for them matters. Throw what you want and what you need out the window. Just serve God's people. Just take care of them. It's all going to figure itself out. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a listing appointment. I've talked them out of selling their house. And people are like, that's not a salesy thing to do. Yeah, I don't care. But guess what? They referred their grandma and their mama and their cousin and their uncle. I didn't sell their house, but I wasn't looking for the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I wasn't looking for the quick sale. I was looking for a relationship. I want to be your real estate consultant, and I want to be the person that's your life coach. I want to be everything I can be to you for the rest of your life. It's much deeper than a transaction. So come from contribution. Don't have commission breath. I had commission breath. When I couldn't get an appointment for 2 weeks and 92 listings in 90 days, I had commission breath over the phone. They could absolutely smell it. I was living in ego. I was being super selfish. And God basically like just slapped me in the back of the head and said, boy, get your crap together. It was a great freaking lesson. So come from contribution. Number 5 is fall in love with the action, not the result. I can't tell you how powerful this is. Fall in love with the action, not the result. This is a you thing. This is tenacity. This is grit. Because I know that unless I'm alone, which I don't believe I am, I know for a fact that everybody on this call, if you've been in real estate for a decent amount of time, a year plus, you've put in a set amount of action and not seen the result that you wanted. And it's disheartening. And you feel like, why am I still in this? I suck at this. I shouldn't do this. Right? Raise your hand if you ever felt that way. I'm bad at this. Okay. Good. We're honest with each other. So here's the deal. You have to fall in love with the action, not the result, because it's hard in this business. If you only celebrated every time you got a closing, some of us wouldn't be celebrating at all. Some of us would celebrate very seldom. And some of us, you celebrate so few and far in between that you'd almost feel like you have no value. Like it's why am I doing this? So celebrate the small victories in your action every day. Did I get on the phone and did I reach out and have communication with 20 amazing people and just really like offer my services and want to serve them today? Did I do that? So if you do that every day, 20 people I talked to, this is awesome. You won. The closings aren't here, but you won. And if you do it enough, you develop a habit. When you develop the habit, the results will come and it'll all be supported and that habit will stick and then you can change your life. But too many people, they fall in love with the result. They don't get the result. They quit the action after 3 weeks. They believe they're a failure and they get the heck out of the business. Or they start looking for shiny objects, right? I'm going to pay somebody lead generate for me. I'm going to pay for these leads and those leads and that lead. My team has never paid for a Zillow lead and we never will. And I'm going to tell you right now, if there's anything I can tell you that is very powerful, this is one of the things, because I talk to hundreds of people a week, from huge companies to individual agents to solos, all kinds of stuff. This is the theme right now. I don't know about your market because you guys are Cape Cod can be a vacation spot. I get it. But in most markets right now, people are struggling. The market has shifted. The game has changed. The past 2 years, we have been spoiled like crazy. It's been easy pickings. It's a heyday. And it's shifted. And some of you are like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where my next paycheck is. Holy crap. I don't have enough business in my coffer. My team is blowing the hell up. We are exploding in business because of this one thing. We are prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Most people are opposite. They're marketing based and they do prospecting as they see fit. No, prospecting based, marketing enhanced. And when I say prospecting, everybody says FSBOs and expireds. No, not necessarily. Prospecting is just reaching out to people with a conversation every day. It's a text, it's an email, it's a phone call consistently over time. It can be your farm, like who are you farming to? It needs to be your SOI. It can be FSBOs, it can be expireds, it can be past clients, it can be all these things. What it needs to be is consistent. And that's hard. It's very hard for human beings to be consistent. I know I'm a freak for this stuff. I'm going to show y'all some things here real quick to kind of break down the way we look at things. So I really started this in 2014. I've come closer, it's a science, it's not an exact science, but I've come closer to like really identifying the science and pinpointing what it takes for people to be successful in this business over the past like 2 years. And I've just been narrowing it down and studying numbers. So what I found is that, let's see if I can share this. I got a few more minutes. I like sharing this. This is something I'm passionate about that I can get in and get out of.
Share. No problem.
Okay. So let me get y'all back on my screen so I can see y'all's faces over here. And can you guys see this right here? This is Follow Up Boss. This is my CRM. You're about to freak out, but there's 60,583 leads in my system. So, and what we do with these leads, what we do with the system, how this is all set up is, you can see different sources. HAR.com is our MLS over here. We have a forward-facing portal, and we get leads from that, from our listings and things like that. Friends and family, these are SOIs. Ylopo, if you don't know about Ylopo, maybe look into it. It's a great source to help us convert leads and create leads. Database, home light. So we get a bunch of different leads. We have tons of lead sources, right? But that's not even the kicker. This right here is the game changer. My computer works fast enough. So I said it before, your conversation or your relationship is the sum of your conversations. Embed that in your head. Your relationship is the sum of your conversations. So what I began to realize is it's very hard to run a business if you're not running it on actionable things that I can do and that I can track, where I can take the front activity and I can track it to an end result. It's hard to run a business if you can't do that. So what a lot of agents do is they don't track any of their business. They don't track how they do things. They don't track any of it. So they don't know what produces the result. So they have some months where they're like, yeah, I'm killing it. Other months they don't, and they don't know the difference. Like, what got me here and what didn't? If they do, it's very vague. Well, I went to more parties last month. Okay, is that really the indicator? I don't know. But what we've done is we've been able to narrow it down. So no matter where your lead sources come from, it don't matter if your leads come from Facebook, social media, Instagram, cold calling. It don't matter if they come from, you're a PTA mom and you bring cookies up to the school once a month. Like whatever you do, I started my business drinking beer with buddies, and that's how I started this damn thing, right? It doesn't matter. Take your leads, put them in the system, and track these things. So this works for me, and I'm telling you, there's a million systems out there. But what we have come down to and what we've mastered is my people need to get 533.33 points a day on a 30-day month, and it's about habit. So I don't know how many of you are with KW or were with KW or have ever been in Bold. I love Bold. It's great. Here's the problem with it. If you've ever been in it, y'all remember they make you do that Bold 100? Go do a Bold 100. Go out and talk to 100 people in a day. There's a problem with that. Why would we push people to do something that's not, you can't form a habit around it and it's not sustainable? It's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest things I see people do. That's not important. What's important is creating a habit a habit that you can sustain, a habit that you can hang your hat on as a business and say, this actually works. If I do this every day, I will have a business that pays me 1 to 2 closings every single month for the rest of my life. If I just do this. So what we've narrowed it down to is every email is worth 1 point. Every text message is worth 2. Outgoing phone call is 10. 2-minute plus conversation is 100, and appointment is 500 points. And if you get 533.33 points a day, I figured it out that after 2 months of consistent behavior, in month 3, as early as month 3, you will start to see regular business headed towards closing. But most people, it actually takes 4 months of that consistency. And almost every time, I haven't seen it fail yet. If you stay in that consistent motion for 4 months, in 5 or 6, you will begin to see consistent business. And it doesn't stop until you stop. So that's all I track. I sit down with my people. So let's look at yesterday, because that's a complete day. Look at this. He set 4 appointments. She set 1, 2, 1, 2, but 0. So look at this. She had 962 points. We know that 533.33 is the equation. She didn't set an appointment, but we still celebrate her because she got her points. She got victory. She could hang her hat on that because she created habits that are going to feed her, that we can celebrate. She didn't get an appointment. She didn't get a closing, but we can still celebrate her actions. If you haven't read The 4 Disciplines of Execution, it's a great book. It talks about lead, measure, lag, measure. The lead measures are what run your business. The lag measure is the result. You can't get a lag measure unless you're doing the lead measure. And if you're not tracking the lead measure, you can't really create a system that tells you how to reverse engineer and determine how much money you're going to make. So that's what this system does. This is a conversation system. And people say, well, Ozzie, that's cold. Y'all are just running off of numbers. No. Look beyond the numbers. People make numbers. Conversation make numbers. The numbers are the dashboard. The engine and the gasoline is you and your conversations. Period. This is about relationships. So if you're afraid of relationships, okay, fine, whatever. You can say that. But don't tell me you're afraid of numbers. That's bull crap. Make sense? So I just like sharing this stuff with people and just showing them. I'm so proud. Like this, she was a solo agent with KW. She joined my team. She hadn't closed hardly a deal. She's closing 2.5 transactions a month right now.
Wow.
My beast, which she's down because she took the last couple of days off, but where's she at? Whitney. She's already closed 29 deals this year. She's on track to make over 225,000. And that's a lot of money in Texas because life's very affordable. Our burritos are cheaper than yours. So just being real with you. She's a monster, right? 6 months before she met me, she hadn't closed a deal. She had been in the business 4 years. She was struggling. And you want to know, the thing is, I didn't start by coaching her on the activities as much. I told her, get on the phone, call people. That's fine. We'll work on that. But what I knew with her is I had to coach her on something different. It was her belief in herself. True story. She would always apologize. I'm sorry. This is going to sound dumb. I know this is silly. I don't want to waste your time. And here I'm going to be 100% honest. And I hope I don't get roasted for this. Women, you do that shit too much. I see it far too often as a habit in women where you apologize for everything. And I'm like, what the hell are you apologizing for? This is weird. Don't do that. One time she comes in the office. She walks into my office and she says, hey, I don't want to waste your time. I know this can be a dumb question. And I go, Whitney, get the out of my office. And she's like, oh. And I go, step out, think for a second, and come back in here and ask me the question like you own the building. Are you ready? Go. And she comes back in. She's like, and I go, great. Now we're getting there. And another time she did it again. And it takes time. You got to reprogram your mind because you've been apologizing for yourself for so long and you haven't believed in yourself and you don't believe you're worthy. And I shouldn't be in this conversation because you're more important than me and all that crap, right? So I said, Whitney, let me ask you a question. You got 3 boys, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, first I asked her, I said, where's a place in your world where you're the master of your domain? Like you are in control, you call the shots. And she couldn't think of it. And I said, all right, Whitney, I'll help you. I already know where I'm getting with this. You ready? And she said, yeah. And I said, you have 3 boys, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, when you walk into their bedroom and it's dirty, do you say, hey, boys, I don't want to bother you. This is going to sound silly, but maybe could you possibly clean up your room? And moms are like, hell no. I walk in, open the door. You got about 5 minutes to get all these dirty clothes up, get the water bottle stowed away, put all this crap away. And if I come back, it's not done, I'm taking everything away. That's a mom conversation, right? And I said, Whitney, be that person everywhere. Be that person in everything you do. Well, I'm not a veteran in real estate. I'm a veteran mom. No, bull crap. You can be that anywhere. When they came out of the womb, where you're like, well, I'm not a veteran, so I'm not going to take care of this baby. No, you're like, oh, this is my kid and I'm taking care of them. That's what you did. You made that decision. Now they're 15. Cool. And I said, Whitney, I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to like accept it if you can. I'm going to ask you to accept my belief in you until you believe in yourself enough to be the person you're supposed to be. And when she started understanding it and she started owning it, her life changed. Everybody in our market tries to recruit her. And she says the same thing. I will never leave this team because Ozzie changed my life. And I didn't change her sales. That was a byproduct. I helped her change who she was inside. I helped her find that she is a beast and she is worthy and she is enough and she was made perfect just the way she is. She just had to pull it out and show the world. And now she's doing it. Those are the game changers. So I hope this helps. I've talked a lot. I covered a bunch of stuff and I know I could cover more, but I wanted to bring as much impact and give you as much value as I could in the amount of time I got on here. I love you guys and thank you so much for listening to even a damn word I got to say. You are my blessing and I appreciate it.
This was super amazing. I'd love to open it up for questions. Let me get you to unshare your screen so we can all
Mhm.
come together, although I've still got you spotlighted for sure. So I know there's been a bunch of questions. One is just to go back actually to that, and then maybe there's some more general questions. Outline again the point system that you had for the 533.3 points that everybody gets per day.
It's one per text. Well, okay, so 533.33 points a day. We used to do it based on like 750 points on a 5-day week because I do want people to focus on taking as much of their weekends off as possible, as
Mhm.
crazy as that sounds in real estate. But 533.33 points a day on a 30-day month. And it's 1 point for email, 2 points for text message. And these are outgoing. And Follow Up Boss tracks all of it. If you have Follow Up Boss, it's amazing. It does it in the system. It's 10 points for every outgoing phone call. It's 100 points for every 2 minute plus conversation. And Follow Up Boss records all the calls in the system. And then every appointment you set is worth 500 points.
All right, that's amazing. Yeah, we'll try to. I'll have my executive assistant kind of summarize some of this and send it out to the attendees also. I think that would be super helpful. Um, so
If
I
you
know,
email my assistant and ask
uh-huh,
her for the 5 pillars, she can send you like a PDF version of it
that would be great. Yeah,
and you can
I
send it out
definitely
to
will.
everybody.
I know we're in touch. Raymar, if you could make that note. I know that we're definitely in touch with her because we know we got stuff for the to do the promotion for now. So let's see. Let's open it up for questions. People just want to raise their hand, jump in, ask some questions. I'd love to open this up to the group. Adrian, nice to see you. Adrian was my first mentee here on Cape Cod.
Get it?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Perfect. So I did a fair amount of cold calling in the past. I don't know if you ever heard of Ricky Caruth.
I have heard of him before. Yes.
So I learned about the art of cold calling and relationship over transactions from him. My question is, every time when you used to do cold calling, are you using a script? Are you training your team with a script or just
It depends on what you're doing, but yeah, we do morning huddle from 8 to 8:30. We do script practice and role play from 8:30 to 9. The crazy thing is when I'm teaching script practice and role play and stuff like that, it's more about energy. It's more about your tone. It's more about like owning the moment, smiling when you're talking. It's also more about the repetition of, I think, people do more role play than script practice. Script practice is I'm just going to read this script over and over and over and internalize it. I think we fail to do as much of the script practice because it can feel cheesy and corny sometimes. But if you just practice like internalizing those words, that's the best thing. So now, if you go to Agents Empowering Agents, you will see some of the scripts that I put out. One of the greatest scripts I've ever put out was my Zillow script. If you're calling for sell by owners,
Okay.
watch that video. It's the truth about Zillow on my YouTube channel. That video is ridiculous. Like, it is probably one of the most powerful videos I've ever put out. I've used it. That video, I would say that video's made me over $1 million.
Wow.
And it's how I put that script into play and how I get it into your hands and how you work with it. Because it basically, in a nutshell, it uses Zillow against itself, and it makes Zillow the bad guy to the consumer, because Zillow is the bad guy to the consumer if you know what they're doing. And what it does is it helps you to win their heart, tell them the truth about what's going on, and become their ally. But I have scripts for everything. I mean, I've called so much that, I mean, and if y'all wanted to, if we had time, I'd say, if you want to challenge me in a script, like if you right now, if you wanted to stump me as a client and be realistic, like I have a script for almost anything you're going to say. But I've done it
I
so
love
much.
that. Anybody want to jump in?
Well,
And I
Eric
mean,
has some.
this
What
is
did Eric have to say?
I just want to
Eric,
give a shout out to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing, boss?
I'm doing good.
Been a while.
I saw your name come across. I said Ozzie, and I had to look. I'm saying, is it Ozzie? So I actually Googled. I'm going like, Ozzie. So what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Love your story. And a lot of people in the room, because I've known Ozzie for a little bit, and I'm so happy and proud of you. And what a great encouragement. The question I will ask you, brother, is what are you using for your warm calls? What system are you using today?
So we have Vulcan 7 for data.
Okay.
And so when I give you Vulcan 7, understand this, guys. Different systems are good in different areas. So Vulcan 7 may make it a lot easier to pull data in my area. It may be more complete in Houston than it is in Cape Cod. I don't know. But what I did is I tried Vulcan 7, I tried Mojo, I tried all these different companies. Vulcan 7 had more data and more complete and accurate data. And I called both of them, like I called in Mojo, Vulcan, RedX, like all these different softwares for months before I realized, hey, Vulcan 7 is my winner.
Yeah, I got you. I used Vulcan 7 for a bit, and I'm now using Mojo, but that was my experience, that Vulcan would give more.
So understand
more data.
this. I Vulcan 7 the data, and I call in Follow Up Boss because we track our points in Follow Up Boss.
Okay.
And Follow Up it's a one place where I can keep points. It's a one place where I can record conversations to audit, and it all can be tracked right in there.
Okay.
So I pull it down and pop it into Follow Up Boss and go from there.
Okay, so you're not using the Vulcan 7 dialer. You're using the Vulcan 7 data. You're importing it into your Follow-Up Boss, and then you're tracking it within there.
Absolutely, yes, sir. And then we don't use. I used to use the Mojo 3-ring dialer. I get it. You know, I'm a little old school. I'm kind of paper pen still, and I like the 3 dialer because it was like quick and efficient for most part. But I just couldn't collect my thoughts, and I felt like it just made me feel scrambled. So Follow Up Boss is a single dialer, and that's enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good seeing you, brother. Looking forward to doing some more with you.
Let's go, boss. Good to see you, dude. Christine, I guess, is next.
Yeah. Did you try Espresso Agent at all?
I did not. I actually heard of it, and people had talked to me about it, but that's one that I did not try.
I found them pretty accurate, just for everybody.
Yeah, I've heard people rave about espresso before. What else?
Other questions? Questions about the 5 pillars? Questions about kind of, some of Ozzie's approach? I just, you said something when we were together in Orlando that has continued to stick to me, and that was that your relationships are simply the sum of your conversations. And that resonates so much with me because I think things are a certain way, but I believe in the truth of what you're saying. And if we're not willing to have conversations, which is another question I might pose to you. You know, tell me a little bit about what you run into with agents. You know, what's that? Why is the phone weigh 1,000 pounds? What is, you know, what are some of those common stories people are telling themselves that we can help, myself included, to kind of get over the phone, you know, the fear of the phone.
The biggest thing, it all starts with mentality. People are afraid they're bothering people. People like that 5 pillars is built because of that. Like we have to understand that your value is not found in your real estate knowledge. You are only bothering people if you don't care about them. When you love them, you care about them, and you want to help them, like genuinely, you're not bothering them. Even the ones that think you're bothering them and they're mean or whatever, they're just lost. They're more mad at themselves than anything else. They're pissed off at the last 5 real estate agents. They're not mad at you. So really that's one of the biggest thing is just the mental game of it. And I think I have a video on that. If I find it, I'll let y'all know. But overall, it's all a mental game. And you got to get past it. You got to think about it. If I told you you need to make 100 phone calls today in order to make $6,000 next month for your family, would you do it? And most people would say yes. Okay, good, then do it. That's the truth. It's the absolute truth. Just get on the phones and have conversations. You got in this business to sell real estate, and I think we all knew a sales position requires conversations and relationship building. So why aren't you having dozens and dozens of relationship building conversations? Think about the math of it. And this is a compounding effect. If every day you have 10 conversations, 10 real estate conversations, just offering to help people, right? Just offering to help people. How can I help you? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. 10 conversations a day. And let's just say you're taking so many weeks off for a vacation, and you're looking at so 10 a day, 10 a day. That's 50 a week on a 5-day week, right? 50. That's 200 a month. 200 conversations a month. And let's just say you take 2 months off. So you're looking at 2,000 conversations, 2,000 relationship building opportunities. Think about what that means over time. 2 years, it's 4,000. 3 years, it's 6,000. But it's not just that. It's that and then everything you did before, and that and everything you did before. And it just starts to roll. I'm at this point in my business where it feels too easy. I've been so consistent and so habitual that there's days when I feel like a failure. And then I just look back and I say, man, I had 5 appointments today. I didn't even realize it. It just happened. It's so natural. It's a part of the day. And my appointments are different. I'm strictly a recruiter now. My appointments are agent appointments, and agents are hard appointments to keep because y'all are flaky. No, I'm just messing, but.
Oh no, we are, and there's a lot of no shows in that part of the business.
I'm messing, but overall, it's you're I tell people this: if you stood over my shoulder and watched me every day, you're like, there's nothing sexy about what I do. Like it is repetition. It is mundane. It is nothing fancy. What is sexy is the outcome. What is sexy is my result, because I've been doing this so long. It is a wild thing to say that I make over $1 million a year, take home to my family. That is crazy shit. Nobody in my family has ever been able to say that. And it's not like I didn't create the iPhone. Like I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing special. Every day I just reach out to people and I say, how are you doing? How can I help you? And when they're pissed, I'm like, hey, I'm happy. Like, I don't know who made you mad, but it wasn't me. If we could do it for a minute, like if we can forget about them and just talk about me and you, would that be okay? And we don't have to talk about real estate either. Let's talk about what's going on in life. Is there anything I can do to contribute to your life today? And you'd be surprised at where the conversations go and how many amazing friends and people. Like, it's so much fun. I'm not selling real estate. I'm just hanging out with a bunch of friends all day, every day. And it's great.
Ozzie, you say it's not rocket science, but honestly, your level of commitment, the making consistency a pinnacle of your life and your day is something special. It really is. I'd love to do a series with Ozzie. Let's see a raise of hand. Yes and yes. Who would like a series? I want to get to the where's my why, and I want to pull you in for agent attraction. I've done mostly my masterminds have been about production for everybody, but I would, we do a lot of coaching on agent attraction as well. And I know my business partner Barbara Legg from San Diego, who's on the call as well. I know she's going to be very fired up to be able to have some conversations about agent attraction with you. But yeah, so we'd love to have you back. I got a whole Aussie series
Let's
in mind.
go. I'm
Um,
down.
yeah, invite your team. I mean, we that's what one of our core values in EXP is collaboration. And it sounds like a Lifetime movie. But, oh my God, is it
It'd be
true?
awesome. Like bring a couple of my team members on, like as many as you want to hear, and then you can ask him like, is
Please.
he bullshitting or is he telling the truth? And I think you'll see what's going on. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I have
Well,
one
this has
last
been amazing.
question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, sure. Go ahead,
What's the name of the YouTube channel again?
It's AEA Coaching, Agents Empowering Agents. And I can give me a second. Let me see if I can.
Is it on your website, askozzy.com?
It should be on. Oh no, it's not really on our website. This is
Okay.
separate because Agents Empowering Agents. So truth be told, Agents Empowering Agents is one of my probably most powerful recruiting methods.
Okay.
I use agents. Oh, that's not it. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if it'll
Yeah.
copy
And
this.
again, I'm going to have Raymar kind of do a little roundup of everything and resources. So he may reach out to Sandra also to kind of get a.
That's the link to the YouTube right there.
Okay.
But overall, like it's with this YouTube channel, what I did is my coach said, if you put out one video a week for the next year, you will have created something special. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So what I do is, as agents want to talk to me, or as I reach out to agents, or I get handed prospects, or I run ads on WiseHire, I take all the prospects, I put them into one system. I make a YouTube video, put it here. I take the same video and I put it on Facebook in my Agents Empowering Agents Facebook group and Facebook page. And then I mass shoot it out through my CRM to all the agents that are in there. And I built a database in 6 months. My database is the 1,700 agents in our area. And I just hammer them with videos. And I had a woman join my team 2 weeks ago, and she literally came in and she said, I don't know what I'm going to do on your team, but I'm joining your team today. And I said, well, we have an interview process, like slow down. She joined, she's on the team. She just said, your videos changed my life. Like they made me think about things differently. Now she's on the team. She's one of the people that cried. I think yesterday she cried and she said, I've been looking for this for years and I'm so happy to be here. This is the best place I've ever been. And I'm like, well, good, go tell your friends. So she brought a friend too.
Nice.
So
Hey, so before you go, I just want to ask, so do you use KV Core at all?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm a follow-up boss guy. I use a follow-up boss in tandem with Ylopo.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably going to pick up Whitley next, but follow-up boss and Ylopo are the biggest things we do. We were using Krem. I don't know if you know who Nick Krem is. He was doing a lot of like our Instagram stuff, but we're probably going to move away from that and move more towards we're going to move more towards a VA or an in-house person to do that. But there's a lot of things out there. We can talk forever on systems and stuff like that.
All right. Well, we would love to have you back. I hope that you will agree no matter what. I know that everybody was putting thumbs up, putting yes in the chat. This has been an amazing hour. Your story is just so, really heartwarming and really important to hear. And, the fact that you have never let that define you and you've continued to use those things. I love what you said about just having your mom for those 17 years. We always have a choice. Tony Robbins tells us that all the time. We can use these experiences, to make us, to allow us to grow, or we can use them to make us sad and miserable. So I love what you have to share. I hope I'm going to see you in Dallas in a couple of weeks.
Possibly.
You're so close. Are you kidding me?
I am, man. You understand from June 20th, June 20th to July, I was out of town in everywhere in the world, and when you think about traveling, I'm tired right now. So I'm like, I'm
gonna drive
chilling.
up and get you.
You know what? I'm 99% sure I'll end up going. I haven't bought a ticket or that, but I'll figure it out eventually. But if I can, guys, give grace, stay out of judgment, and be understanding.
I love it. I love it.
We could all use it.
I love it. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. We'll have this posted up on our YouTube channel.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much for being my
guys.
blessing today. I appreciate it. Go out there and just love on people, man. Like somebody needs you today. Somebody needs to hear from you. The person who you've been afraid to call because you haven't called them in 6 months is waiting for you to call. They're just waiting to hear from you. And when you do, they're going to be so relieved. And the conversation is going to turn out like nothing you thought it was. Trust me, the story in your head is wrong.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys. Love you guys. Have a good one. Take it easy.